Thomas, it's up for grabs now! Thomas!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
Good evening, everybody. Very, very welcome to the Arsenal Lounge. Very special episode of the Arsenal Lounge. You guys might have seen from Twitter all day. We're celebrating 1 million views on this channel. So I think it was over the weekend that we actually reached the 1 million views. For those of you who don't know, me and Lev started this about a year ago. We took over a channel at the time we had around 2,000 subs, and a lot of people helped us along the way, and we put out tweets. And I just wanted to give them a shout out on the channel as well, to give them a massive thank you. Turkish, Lee Judges, Curtis Shaw, Moh who's here, Tom who's here, and so many other people that helped us. But these guys were here on a regular basis. We're doing shows regularly together. Edu as well, Eduardo, Hagen as well, which we were doing transfer with last summer. Hopefully we do as well for this summer. But thank you all. Most importantly, you guys who watched us, who subscribed, who liked, who commented, and you've encouraged us, you supported us. Whether you agree with me, you don't agree with me, you agree with Lev, or you don't agree with Lev, I'm sure on behalf of Lev and myself, I just want to say big thank you to you guys. And we're doing a competition today to celebrate this. I will tell you guys at the end of the show what it is. Stick around. You can take part, and there's a prize, an Arsenal shirt, which we will give away. Moh and Tom will pick the winner, and we'll send that out. Normally I ask how's everybody is, and so but this week I just want to see if Lev want to say anything with regards to what I just said.
No, listen, brilliant. It's amazing. Like when we first started this, it was probably, being fair, about a year and a half. When we first started this, we did this during lockdown. We were going through our own things, our own tribulations and trials and all that sort of stuff. And the channel was just something we did just to start, to keep us occupied, and just can't believe it's gone this far so quickly. So just a massive thank you for all of the support. Love all the guys in the chat. Thank you for everyone that's helped, especially these two guys here on our show today, and the likes of Lee and Turkish, all those guys that helped us. And hopefully we'll get to 20k next and another 2 million views. And
look at this, Lev.
Around.
The visions, please move Moh and Tom back to their normal position.
That's my second account, that
I was actually going to say that towards the end, but what the hell's going on down here? And also a massive thank you to Zahid from FC Palestina for this lovely top here. And he also sorted me out this away one as well, as this one was taking some time to come through. He gave it to me. What a lovely guy. If you want a top like this, FC Palestina, please go. I believe some of the contributions go towards Palestine and all that sort of stuff. So, again, thank you, Zahid. So, and yes, 1 million.
1 million is, honestly, me and Lev, we never thought we'd get here so quick. So thank you again to everybody. And please make sure you stick around, take part in our competition at the end. Mr. Haidar, how are you?
I am good, man. I am good. I'm feeling confident. I almost feel like, like a miracle has taken place recently, actually, that I'd like to share with you guys, because I was speaking to a very good, wise friend of mine a few weeks back, and he said to me very, very, conclusively, our season is dead. And then here we are, a full resurrection has occurred. And Arsenal are now 6 years since we last played in the Champions League.
Yeah, well,
life has been breathed, like it's had a prophetic touch. And here we
are.
Say
pathetic touch.
All right, I can see. I can see you in a very good mood, Moh.
But prophetic. Life, a miracle, life breathed back into our season, and here we are. From it being dead, he said. He actually said dead.
Yeah. May I remind you and everybody that, just like me, everybody predicted a loss for those games as well. So, Tom, How are you?
Is that true? I don't think that's true.
no,
I think
no,
I
no.
predicted a win for Chelsea. Thank you very much, Shaheen.
How are you? You good?
I'm very good, mate. Yeah, very good. Busy, but yeah, very good indeed. It's a new car week for me. I got a new car this week, which has been the highlight.
Congratulations.
So, that's nice. Oh, to celebrate the 1 million views. That's what it was for. I thought, million views on the lounge.
Shaheen gave it to you for the million views.
So what car, Tom?
New Qashqai. So I've got a dad car, is what I've got.
Nice.
A sexy dad car. That's what it is.
I've got Nissan too.
No, it's a good make. It's
Nissan.
clearly
His
representing.
Nissan is a bit different. I've sat on it, so it's a bit. It's one of those.
Is it a GTR? What have you got? A GTR or something?
No, it's got a puncher. That's what it is.
No, I wish I had a GTR.
No, he's got a nice car, Mo.
You know, they've got a new GTR. They've got an R36 coming out soon, apparently.
Well, for 2 million views, we'll go get that. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Top Gear, and this is.
Well, why don't we start with the prediction table, Mo? Because I think Lev is in a healthy place this week. So he claims. I don't
know what everyone predicted. Does anyone have it written down for Leeds?
I predicted 2-1.
You predicted 2-1. Okay.
Did you predict 2-1, Lev?
You
Be honest.
did not predict 2-1. You didn't predict 2-1. You didn't.
No, I think you said 3-0.
I don't think anyone said 2-1.
No. I'll tell you exactly what you said. Shaheen said 2-0. Mo said 2-0. Tom said 3-0. I said 3-1. I almost went in and edited the video from last week, and I was going to say 2 over my voice when I said 3, and play it back and just use it as proof. But it's
so what did Tom say?
Everyone gets a point, really.
We all got a point. We're all staying in the same place. It's all still to play
stick
for.
To this 2-1. You know, this 2-1 always.
It should have been 3-1, but there you go.
Man, honestly, this is nerve-wracking. How is it that yet again, this happened at United. We all predicted a win. We won. No one got a perfect score. It's now happened again with Leeds. And 2-1 is such a bog standard score as well. I just can't believe that.
I should have stick to my 2-1.
I only need one correct result in these next 3 games. It's all what's still. Relegation battle.
Listen, check this out. Me and Lev were doing a show after the game against Leeds, and one guy came on, and this topic of this prediction thing actually somehow he came about. He knew Lev's prediction, so it showed to me that people actually are interested. And at the end, before he leaves, in his final thought, he said to Lev, I wish you luck taking the guys out for the dinner and everything. Even he knew that.
We'll have to live stream our meal. That's what we have to do.
Yeah.
Anyone watching, just to remind
cottage, live from the chicken cottage.
Yeah, of course it'll be a chicken
cottage. For everyone watching, just to remind you all, if you're not aware, we're doing a predictions league. We started from the Brentford game. That was the first one, all the way up to the end of the season. The loser is going to put the first £200 down of a bill when we go out for dinner. So, it's a healthy amount. It's nice. We'll all have a nice meal. I'm thinking, some nice sushi or a nice steak from Lev's pocket. That'll taste amazing. So, looking forward to it.
Yeah. And what's the standing, Mo?
The standing is yourself on 13 points with, quite shockingly, 3 correct scores.
It's good to see you got the right laptop today.
Yeah, but some people say I don't know nothing about football. Anyway, so go on.
Well, do you know what? I mean, Arsenal have been so flipping unpredictable that it's not a surprise that just you're randomly chucking out predictions that happen to come through.
I don't get it because he said the season's done, yet he kept predicting wins.
Exactly.
I don't get it.
And then Tom on 11 with 1 perfect score. I'm third on 9 with 1 perfect score. And then bottom relegation candidate Lev on 7. With 1 perfect score. But I have to be honest, guys, I'm so nervous because I give him stick every week because I'm reading them out. Yeah,
you're so close. You're 1 correct score.
Listen, even if I predict it right and I don't get a perfect score, we'll both be on 10, but he'll have 2 perfect scores to 1. And I'm so nervous, man.
Last game of the season, that's what it's going to be.
Or if it comes down to the last game of the season and I turn it round, I am not going to let you guys off at all. Just letting you know, right?
But, all right. Well, let's start with the Leeds game. Tom, what was your thoughts on the game?
Frustrating, very, very frustrating by the end. Nervy, very nervy, unnecessarily so. But we battered them. I think that was one of the best 45 minutes of football, I think we've seen from Arsenal this season. We absolutely destroyed them in the first half. I think actually the red cards was the worst thing that could have happened to us because, Leeds were open. They had 11 against 11. They were more willing to be a little bit more spacious with their play, a little bit more committal in attack. And when we got, when Ayling was sent off, it just completely shut down what they were going to try and do in attack. And we paid for that because we couldn't really break them down. We had created still plenty of big chances. I mean, Martinelli definitely should have scored to the chance he had going through. I think Rafinha should have been sent off. Maybe we'll talk about it in a bit, but I think Rafinha should have sent off when Ayling was sent off because he was given a yellow for dissent and then just continued to tell the ref to F off, basically. So, yeah, he certainly should have seen red as well. But I think there's been a lot made about the fact that, it was nervy and that the second half wasn't exactly great, although in the second half, again, we created plenty of chances that we should have scored. I think that any other day, we probably win that quite comfortably. But with the pressure as it is, we got a little bit of a reminder. Maybe that's good. Maybe it's a good thing that we got a bit of a reminder that, nothing's given at this point. So there's a bit of perspective going into the game on Thursday. But overall, I was just buzzing to get the 3 points because that was obviously the most important thing.
Mo?
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I expected us to win. I thought we'd keep a clean sheet. And then when obviously the game unfolds and you get an absolute gift from Meslier to Nketiah, and then we go in after 10 minutes, we're 2-0 up, and then within half an hour, they've got a man down. You revise that expectation. So I feel like the game under-delivered for me, in all honesty, based on what I was expecting at halftime. I can't believe we lost the second half. I mean, that's mad to me, when they're down to 10 men. When you think about when Arsenal play and we go down to 10 men, we're all sitting there nervous, like, oh, God, what are we going to do? How are we going to cope? Liverpool was a very recent good example, Liverpool away in Carabao Cup, of how we actually dealt with it well. Other than that, I feel like I rarely see Arsenal deal with it as well as Leeds did, so I think they deserve a lot of credit for dealing with it as well as they did. But I think I like the fact that Tom actually spoke about the first half because the second half just overtook my whole conclusion of the game. And actually, I remember, after Tom saying what he said, I actually remember thinking in the first half actively that actually we're so intense. We've started off so well, and I was really, really impressed. So it's only fair then that we give a bit of balance and say that, look, Leeds are a team fighting for their lives. And, it wasn't all bad. We did start off well as well, but we're just not clinical. And I kind of feel like there were a few moments in the game where, like Pepe, for example, forget the obvious moment, but there were numerous times he lost the ball. In fact, I'm going to give you some stats about Pepe, in terms of his attacking input into the game. 19 touches, successful dribbles, 3 attempted, 0 succeeded, dispossessed twice, and caught offside once. Now,
You should have scored as well, Mo.
Yeah, absolutely. But aside from even that, I'm just saying that if you're dispossessed twice and given the ball away once, caught offside once, that's 3 times you've turned over possession, and you've attempted 3 dribbles and lost them all. That's 6 times you've turned over possession, and you've only had 19 touches on the ball, and you haven't been on for even 20 minutes. It was a really, really poor performance. And Albert Stuyvenberg was having some words with him at the end of the game, and I'm really not surprised. So things like that, a lack of being clinical. Martinelli had a chance, Ødegaard had a chance, none of them on target, I found quite frustrating. And I think I find it all quite frustrating because of the fact that we're going into a massive game where Tottenham will take a lot of confidence from their last game, and I'm a bit unsure as to how much confidence Arsenal will take from our
I'll come back to Nicolas Pepe obviously later on, sure. But just a quick question, just a yes or no more. Do you think that was the last time we'll see Nicolas Pepe in an Arsenal shirt?
No, because I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a run out against Everton if we've qualified. Okay. But I guess if I rephrase your question, and do I think that's potentially a signal of the end for him, then maybe, yeah.
Okay. Lev, what about you? What was your thoughts on the game?
Frustrating, because the first half we started so well, but again, what's highlighted, despite controlling games and being on top, is the lack of ability to finish teams off and the ruthless cutting edge required. And that is what worries me. In previous games, even when we've been playing well, we've been conceding at silly times straight after we score. So these are little areas that do concern me. And it was a typical Arsenal performance for me. Nothing ever comes easy as fans. We know that. Every time we think we're going to do all right and maybe go to the next levels, something happens like this. And I was worried after the first half when we hadn't finished them off that, even though they were down to 10 men, that we could sort of slip up. And it almost happened. We did concede first goal from a corner in a long, long time. But we definitely deserved the win. There's no doubt in that. And we should have finished the game 3-4 goals. I reckon we should have scored. That's the concern for me moving into the more important game on Thursday. However, look, the most important thing is those 3 points. We got those 3 points. That's the main thing. Going in to this North London derby now, could have been worse. We could have slipped up and only got 1 point. And if they beat us, they overtake us. That would have been terrible going into the last 2 games of the season. At this stage, going into the last 2 games, if we can maintain that gap going into the last 2 games of the season, I think we're in a healthy place. So I'm happy.
Very good. I thought the game was... I more or less agree with Tom in terms of his assessment, but I think the sending off and us scoring 2 goals early with the North London derby in the horizon, maybe the players thought, would take off the pedal, if you like, a little bit. I'm a bit concerned going to the North London derby with our fullbacks because Cedric versus Son is going to be a big problem. Big problem. But Cedric, a couple of times, I don't know who he was. Was it Rafinha or somebody else that they tried to pace him down the line, and it was
Jack Harrison.
Yeah, and he struggled. It was, if I was Antonio Conte, I'll be looking at that. The goal we considered, again, Tomiyasu he's not a left back, he's just covering. But again, I felt that he kind of left his position and went in, and the guy had a free header at the back because that's where he was standing. So those 2 areas concern me. I'm very happy with El Neni's progress coming along, very good. And Tom, you'll be very pleased to hear that I thought Odegaard did really well. And he passed around really well. Moh, you want to say something?
Yeah, on the goal that we conceded, right? I personally, I was talking after the game and saying that, in my opinion, Tomiyasu is probably the best defender at the club. And it's interesting that the goal was scored from the back post. So people often think left back. But at corners, I think that can be a little bit misleading because often players will pick up men and you're then sucked out of position a little bit. It's not actually as clear as left back post when the corner's coming in from the right. Was it actually Tomiyasu's man who was on Llorente at the start as the corner was being taken?
I'm not sure, but had he not left, because when I watched the replay, he was there and there was nobody around him. So I think there was a zonal marking in terms of him at both posts. And when the corner came in, he just went in to the 6-yard box. I'm not sure why. And Llorente had a free header at the back. Had he stayed, that would have been a different.
Shaheen, can I just add to that as well? I think what Mikel Arteta actually did, though, moving Tomiyasu to the left hand side, was quite a smart move. It showed some a real tactical awareness there. He did the right thing. I think that was a really clever move. I personally would move Tomiyasu. I mean, he's on the left, isn't he, Son? I'd move Tomiyasu back to the right.
Is there a temptation to put Ben White right back, keep Tomiyasu left back, and put Holding and Gabriel? And
hold on. Hold on. Let's talk about North London derby a little bit further because we're going to talk about team selections, who plays what soon. So,
see how seamless hosting that was. That was
again
seamless hosting. Just
wasn't like this. Wasn't like this last week. Flowing.
Yeah. So anyway, going back to my thoughts, if I may, on the game. I thought it was a bit nervy at the end, and Pepe should have scored. But as you said, it's just a very, very good reminder to everybody that, listen, you need to be on your toes. And a lot of people said this, which I agree as well. We need to learn how to finish teams off. Maybe if you have a proper striker, it would be a different. But I just thought, they saw a red card, 2 early goals, North London derby underway. They thought we'll take it easy a little bit. Talking points of the game, as Tom said earlier, should Rafinha have been on the pitch, Tom? Because, or would it have been very harsh sending off? I've seen Angel Di Maria getting sent off for that at Old Trafford. Do you remember? It was not against. Was it against us? Where he pulled the ref's t-shirt and he gave him a second yellow for that, and it all happened in space of a minute.
I can't remember. What, Rafinha?
You say
did
Di
that?
Maria in Old
Di
Trafford.
Maria.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was against us or somebody else, but I think he committed the foul. He got booked, and then he started arguing with the ref, and then he was pulling his shirt, and they just gave him another yellow, and then sent him off. Or maybe because they already had a red ref had that in his mind, and therefore I can't send two players off at the same time.
I mean, we've seen Gabriel Martinelli be sent off, haven't we? Sorry, Mo.
Did
you say Mo or Tom? I didn't even know.
Well, Tom, but either of you is fine. Go on.
Shambles.
Go on, Tom, you go ahead.
Go.
No, it's all right. Tom, go on. We'll come to more after.
We see Gabriel Martinelli get sent off early this season for, 2 moments where he's deemed that to be 2 bookable offences. And I don't see how this is any different. He books him for dissent and then doesn't stop. So he's dissented again. So surely it should be another red card, another yellow card, and therefore a red. I feel like I want to bring up the classic example of going, if that's Granit Xhaka doing that, I wonder what would happen. So it's as simple as that for me. I don't know how much more analysis you can give of it. It was a red card. As simple as that for me.
Okay. Mo, do you think the fact that he already sent somebody off had an impact on his decision?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, that's just the way it works, isn't it? It becomes it becomes the story of the game, because it doesn't happen commonly. Every single headline would be 2 reds in 20 seconds, sort of thing. And that then becomes the story of the game. The ref comes under so much scrutiny. I sometimes feel like they just avoid doing those things because, it completely ruins the game, changes the narrative. And when they just give the yellow and stuff, it just takes him out of the limelight a little bit. If that was Mike Dean, he probably would have done it, because he loves the spotlight. But yeah, it should have been a red card to the letter of the law. But I have to admit, if that was Arsenal on the receiving end of that on Thursday, for example, where one was justified, the other one, you can make a case for either. I'd have been really, really frustrated. I definitely would have come out of the game as an Arsenal fan saying, "Oh, that referee had it in for us," rightly or wrongly. So I feel like he perhaps got it right, in terms of. I think what saved Rafinha and saved the ref having to make the decision was other teammates getting involved, physically stopping Rafinha from carrying on, because I think he would have put himself into that position where he had to get a red.
Yeah, I don't think there's any disagreement with regards to the red card. I think we all agree that was a red card.
Yeah, easily could have been. I've got a question for you guys, though, right? And none of us are professional footballers, but just an interesting dynamic here. Rafinha, right? If he goes into the championship, if Leeds get relegated, I guess he would have a release clause. He's clearly too good for the championship, right? So if you're a professional footballer of that caliber, would you actually at this stage think to yourself, it's better for me if the team get relegated? Because then he'll be able to guarantee his move for a set amount, so it'll be cheaper for prospective clubs, where he'd then probably get a better contract as well. I've never really considered that before.
Well, you would think a professional footballer would give his all until the last, fight for the cause. But I think sadly sometimes in this modern day football, especially, people tend to think about themselves and themselves only when they shouldn't. I would not be surprised if that's going through his mind. Can I just read out a super chat before I go to Lev? Cliff, thank you for your kind super chat, my friend. Lads, I watched the first half and then went to F1, which was literally down the street from me. Couldn't believe the final score. Thought it would be 4-0. Yeah, we all were saying that earlier as well, Cliff. And it brings me nicely to the point I want to ask Lev. What's your assessment of Eddie Nketiah lately?
It's a tough one because everyone's looking at it, and I know some people got opinions that he should be offered a new contract and kept and all that sort of stuff. Yes, he's doing a fantastic job for us at the moment, but it's I have been thinking about this quite a while, and he has done well. And yes, he scored some goals. He scored very important goals, and a lot of it is down to his industrious work he does off the ball, like shutting people down when the second goal was a well-worked move. The first goal was all down to him closing people down, and it was opportunistic, and you've got to praise him for that. However, are you asking me whether I see him as the long-term striker at Arsenal, whether he should be staying? Is that what you're asking me?
No, I just wanted to get your thoughts on how he's been performing lately.
I think he's doing very well.
I know, Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, please. There is a contract on the table for Eddie Nketiah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of him deciding to sign. Because I see people are saying on social media, etc., and it's typical of fans who are not informed of the whole thing. Oh, we should offer him a contract. We should tie him down. There is a contract on the table. It's been there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Whether he wants to sign it or not is a different thing.
He's going to want assurances, isn't he? He's going to want to know.
He wants assurances.
It's not just assurances, though, either, because he was offered a deal at Crystal Palace and he turned that down reportedly because of the money wasn't right. So it's not just his guarantees is definitely part of it about minutes, but he turned down Palace supposedly because of financial reasons as well.
Yeah.
And I think I'll answer your question very quickly, Shaheen. He's done really well, but I would want to upgrade. I want 2 strikers in the summer.
You still let him go?
Yes.
And I think that just going back to a point that Moh said earlier, I think what you see here is a good example of a player who's full of confidence, scoring goals, is getting games, compared to a player who comes on at 60th minute and is probably extremely low on confidence, like Nicolas Pepe, and everything he tries doesn't really happen for him, because a confident Nicolas Pepe is scoring that goal when the keeper is out of the goal. A confident Nicolas Pepe will probably go past 1 or 2 players. Going back to what you said earlier with regards to Pepe and Moh, I think the fact that he's probably extremely low on confidence have something to do with his poor performances. I don't know if that's a point that you take on or...
Yeah, but, it's fair enough. I don't dispute that. Someone would just say, though, that football's a very ruthless, harsh game. And, yeah, you are low on confidence. But ultimately, when you're not getting many opportunities, you really, really have to take them. And you need to come out on that pitch with some element of bravery. And I guess this could take us to that moment in the game where I think everyone in the stadium was frustrated by what Pepe did in the moment, where he is the closest player to goal when El Neni puts in an incredible tackle that actually El Neni hasn't received enough praise for. And that tackle itself sets up a chance for Pepe. Now, the first thing I'd say is that the most obvious thing is put it out of your feet. At least give yourself a chance to run onto it. Some people might say that Dan James was closing him down. So do I believe that in that moment, Pepe is aware that, that's Dan James. He's closing me down. I know he's the quickest player on the pitch. Therefore, I'm not going to be able to beat him in a foot race. I'm a little bit skeptical. But even then, if you are thinking that, have a go. Have a go from the halfway line on your right foot.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the confidence to do that, don't try and pull off a nutmeg. If you're not willing to have a go and you want to protect the ball, protect the ball. But he did neither. Do you know what I mean? And I found that quite frustrating that you've given up such a good chance. But I'd be interested to see if anyone here felt like maybe they can understand why Pepe did what he did or did the right thing. Or they feel like maybe someone might feel like trying to shoot from there in your weak foot stupid. I think for a professional footballer, you can execute that.
Yeah. Moh, where do you stand with... sorry, Lev. Where do you stand with this talks of contracts for El Neni and Nketiah?
Well, El Neni for me absolutely has to get a contract. Absolutely has to. I think it's crazy to me that he hasn't been. Because let me just ask you one question that I think puts it into real crystal clear context. When was the last time anyone heard someone mention Thomas Partey?
I agree. The only thing, Moh, there's a couple of things that raises a question mark in my mind. One, why hasn't he not got games early on during the season? Two, why was he not introduced the minute Thomas Partey got injured? Because there's an argument that Lev raised a couple of weeks ago that had he played in one of those or 2 of those games that we lost, those 3 games, maybe we wouldn't have lost that game. And Arsenal I know we're being linked with Tillemans as well. Is a different type of player to El Neni, I agree, but throughout the season, playing Champions League, playing Premier League, FA Cups, Carabao Cups, is El Neni because the argument has always been El Nani is not good enough. He's not maybe he's all right for coming on every now and then, but for us to go to the next step, he's not the type of player that we need at Arsenal. That sort of argument. Is it the right thing for us to offer him a 2-year contract that has been discussed?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Look, come on, man. What the question is simple. It's a case of, for the next 2 years, are we going to be able to get someone that can do the job that Oneri can do as well as he does it for less money? I don't think so. I think that, El Neni's not going to be on mega wages, no transfer fee to pay. So in terms of bolstering that squad that will now have the demands of European football, it's a no-brainer for me. And when you look at Tielemans, in recent weeks, he has not been impressive. He has not been on good form. And El Neni at the moment, clearly, look, Tielemans is the better player, in terms of overall.
It's a different type of player, yeah.
But in recent weeks, El Neni has been significantly better. El Neni's been really, really good. And the thing about El Neni as well that he's pulled out of his locker is forward passes. The chance that he set up with Ødegaard, the chance that he put Nketiah through onto as well in the I can't remember what game it was now, but West Ham, I think.
West Ham.
So he's showing that actually maybe we've underestimated him. Maybe in the past, when he's coming to the team, the role that he's been asked to play is a particular role. And now with Thomas Partey being injured and playing next to Granit Xhaka, they're splitting the burden of that creative element of that position, and he's responding to it really well. I think it's an absolute joke that he's not being given a new contract, because the other thing is as well is that with some players you worry that once they get that contract then everything will change. It always just happened with Theo Walcott, happened with Aubameyang, for example. Is
Ozil
contract lull. Yeah, I don't think that El Neni's that sort of guy. He just does his job really, really well. He's a really consummate professional. I want him at the club. Simple as that.
Okay. Lev, can you kindly read out these couple of super chats?
Yeah, I can do that for you, mate. It's first one here is from Cliff. Don't blame Eddie for wanting to leave, but now he is making the most of the chance. He told the world he wanted, but he can't be first option on the sheet. Thanks for that, Cliff. Thanks for your support, mate. And another regular of ours, Wayne. Can anyone name a better bench or backup players and not in Liverpool or City than Cedric, Holding, and El Neni? I'm sure that is possible. If anyone wants to try that, they're welcome to. But yeah, thanks for that, Wayne.
Yeah, thank you very much, Wayne. Always here supporting us, and again, thank you kindly. Tom, where'd you stand on this contract for this Mohamed El Neni for 2 years?
I think it's always going to be dependent. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh yeah, let's give him a 2-year deal," and then we don't sign anyone. It's predicated on whether or not we bring someone in. However, I agree with Mo. I think that from a professional squad balance, squad depth standpoint, he's absolutely what we need. I think that the balance in the squad is a bit off. We've got a lot of young players. We've moved out a lot of experienced players, rightly. I don't think a lot of those experienced players that we've moved on should have stayed. But El Neni is one of that group that you look at and go, he is comfortable being a squad member because he loves being at Arsenal. He gets what the club's about. He's willing to be called upon and used whenever. And it's interesting because I think in these last 4 games, you've seen him take on a kind of elevated role in the team as well. We're seeing more from him than we've really ever seen in the past. And I think that that's a credit to Arteta as well for getting more from him and kind of coaching him in the way that he's used Thomas Partey at times. I wrote about this today. In fact, his man of the match performance against Aston Villa, Thomas Partey, was very, very similar to the performance that he put in against Leeds. With the progressive passes, he had more progressive passes than Partey. He had lots of different style of forward passes. Because the thing about El Neni has always been, he's always passing sideways or he's passing backwards. He's too passive. But actually, the things that he's changed about his game in the last 4 matches has been he's progressing the ball a lot more. That pass into Ødegaard for the chance was brilliant. So, more of that. And we've got the way that we want this team to work. But as I say, it's predicated on the fact that we need to make sure that we bring in that upgrade. Is Tielemans, a certain upgrade on Granit Xhaka right now? I think there's potential for him to be in the future. But if you said, who would I start against Spurs? Granit Xhaka in the left 8 position or Tielemans? I'm starting Granit Xhaka.
Yeah. Hold on. I just want to mention a couple of points before I move on from this thing. One is I think we need to give a shout out to Rob Holding as well, because he's come in for the past 2 games. He's done okay. And I think Granit Xhaka was very, very lucky to escape a yellow card in that game a couple of times. Had he got booked, he would have been out of the North London derby.
Really?
So
I didn't even know
yeah,
that.
because he would have been out of the North London derby. So Lev, we were all getting on with our daily lives, whatever we do last week, and 8:30 in the morning, boom, Twitter goes mad, social media goes crazy. There's an announcement: Mikel Arteta has been given a new contract.
Okay.
He signed a 3-year, a new 3-year contract. I'm not sure about the finances, how much he's on. I don't know if Tom knows. Very, very strange timing. I did a show with Tom where he does a show on Gonna Talk TV where you agree to disagree, and we agreed.
And you agreed on everything. I watched that. I was
on
like,
some points.
Agree. It should have just been called Agree to Agree.
No, we did disagree on some points.
We disagreed. Odegaard.
Yeah. But what's your thoughts on this whole contract?
Look, I mean, I want to get things straight because we've discussed the contract, when it first was sort of revealed in the media, and I don't want people thinking that I'm averse to him being offered a contract. It was more the timing of it that was confusing for me. It was like, I don't know. We haven't secured top 4 yet. Okay, we secured Europa. Okay, and to me, that's almost an indication that no matter what happened with the top 4 situation, he was going to get a contract. We already knew a couple of months ago. We had an inkling that the contract was already agreed and probably already signed. Right? I think Tom has confirmed that as well. So that was my concern. In so many things could have gone wrong from the time they sat down and discussed it to even to this week, next week. Why not wait? Why not wait to see what transpires? And then, all right, if you do then turn around and say we've given him a contract, there's ways to play it down in the media a little bit in the sense of, okay, if you do miss top 4, it's not such a big deal. We missed by a point or two. It was worth giving it to him. But I just felt the timing of it was a bit strange. And I would have rather it was done in a way that it's like a reward. Oh, you've made top 4. Wait till we get top 4 and then say, yep, new contract. That's where I thought it was a bit strange. I just thought the timing of it was a bit strange. But if he gets top 4, he deserves it. I've always maintained that if he doesn't get top 4, give him another year before giving him a new contract. That was my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I predicted that he went to America to maybe that was possibly the beginning of the negotiations for the contract. That's when he went there because I said there's no other reason for him to be there apart from that to start the negotiations. Again, I'm surprised with the timing of it because he can go to Tottenham and lose, and we could go to Newcastle and that would be a difficult game potentially, and it could end not great. And then we would all look back on it and think, well, why didn't you wait till end of the season? Am I surprised that he's given a contract? No. But does he deserve a contract? Possibly, right? Especially if he does finish on top 4. But there are things about Mikel Arteta that I'm still unsure. And that does not make me a negative fan, or that does not make me somebody who's got an agenda. There are genuinely things about Arteta that I'm not sure. Do I want him to do well? Yes, because that means the club will be doing well. But I would have waited to end of the season. And we had this discussion with Tom as well, that we said we'll wait to end of the season and summer, and maybe we'll see how he gets on maybe halfway through next season and then offer him a contract. And there's this talk of there's other teams who coming in for him and all that. I don't buy that. And I'm not sure about players seeking clarity because at the end of the day, Mikel Arteta is not the pool here. Arsenal Football Club is the pool here. Who we are, what we are is what a new player should be looking at, not Mikel Arteta. So that's my thoughts on it.
Can I just throw a question out to everyone as well when they're answering this?
Yeah.
Obviously, God forbid I don't want this to happen, and obviously I want the Champions League sorted on Thursday, and I want it done at the toilet bowl. However, if something went terribly wrong and we had another run like those 3 games we lost back to back in these final games, in these final 3 games, how would you guys be feeling about the contract?
Look, I would not be surprised because I said few weeks ago, I said I would not be surprised if he finishes 5th or 6th. They will still give him a contract.
No, they would
just
have
how I
given him
see
one
it.
if he finished 8th, mate.
It's just I don't know what it is that they are hooked with Mikel Arteta and this club, and maybe there's things behind background that I don't know. I'm not aware of. But as Tom said, he could have finished 8th and they would have given him a contract. So I'm not surprised about that. I'm just surprised about why now. What is it that we're trying to achieve by releasing that information now?
Let me just put something out there, right? At the start of the season, when we bought the players that we bought, no one was, being really honest, no one was particularly thrilled or particularly confident. I didn't hear many Arsenal fans saying, we're definitely finishing above United based on what we've done. We're definitely finishing above Tottenham. We're definitely finishing above even Leicester. I didn't hear that sort of confidence. I heard not sure about this. Seems like we've overpaid here. Ramsdale, this much. I was talking about what they're doing. Ramsdale, Leno's a decent keeper. Why are we spending that much for someone to sit on the bench? It wasn't against the signing. I didn't think we had used our funds very wisely. So I was criticising some of the dealings as well. Now, if we're all saying that, I wouldn't be surprised if Mikel Arteta, if he was tasked with Champions League qualification this year, I wouldn't have been surprised if he had been more tempted to go down the Man United style route, getting older, experienced players. Less players, but a Sancho, Varane and Ronaldo. I think at that moment in time, that is more likely to yield Champions League qualification than investing in a bunch of unproven younger players that have never played at the top level. So now when we're talking about the fact that he was going to get a contract regardless, maybe it was just a case of saying to Mikel Arteta, we're going to give you a season of no pressure, which also ties into Edu's interview earlier on in the season where he said that no expectations and no targets. I don't think this is right. I think there should be a middle ground. But maybe he was given that season of, look, we're not going to give you any pressure. Your job is secure. We want you to invest for the future. We'll judge you the season after. That's when you'll have some pressure. And on the basis of that, potentially, that's why the new contract was sort of like offered to him, because he's done quite well. He's been able to thrive because of that lack of pressure. And if my theory is true there and that came out, I think actually a lot of people will turn around and say it's a bit of a masterstroke to do that. I think that to give a young and up-and-coming manager who hasn't had that much experience a bit of breathing room to express himself and actually feel comfortable putting forward his ideas and letting them manifest on the pitch, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. The only issue I have with the new contract is the timing. Not the fact that he's being given a contract.
Yes.
I took to Twitter and I said he shouldn't have been given this contract shouldn't have happened before we've achieved anything, right? And people were saying, and they rightly said to me that, no, we have achieved stuff. What I meant by that, I should have been a bit more detailed in the way I phrased it, was that, like on the pitch achievements. Off the pitch, I think he's achieved a lot. I think he's changed the culture. I really feel like he's got a team playing for him, and we are definitely, we're not scoring as much, but we are definitely a bit more controlled in games. I think the Leeds game was a classic game where if that was Emery, we would have drawn. And under Arteta, we've just hung on for a win. I think he has improved us. He's taken us a bit further. But the point is, for every argument people give me about Arteta's contract, one valid argument is that existing players like Nketiah, for example, or El Neni, if we want them to sign new contracts, I hear what you're saying, Shaheen, that Arteta's not the draw, Arsenal is the draw, but also what is important to players is knowing what to expect, knowing whether they're going to be in a manager's plans. El Neni might not want to sign a contract, or Nketiah might not want to sign a contract, and then all of a sudden some manager comes in from whatever country and they don't rate them and they don't want them in their plans, and now they're in this new contract where they're stuck. So I can understand that in order to get some of these contracts over the line, players need to know who the manager's going to be. If that's going to be Arteta, keep it internal. Offer him the contract. I've got no issues with that. I think he deserves a new contract. Keep it internal. And also, there's a thing about ambition and culture, right? When you offer a contract and announce it off the back of not having actually secured any footballing achievement, I think that sends a wrong culture message out there, where it makes you look quite unambitious. Had Arsenal said, you know what, we're looking good for top four, let's just wait. And the way it will be perceived by people is that Arteta was given a contract based on what he's achieved, rather than a feeling or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that sends a more positive message about ambition in the club. Now, people will obviously say, but what if it goes wrong? And I hear that. But then this is why organizations have comms departments. They have departments dedicated to communications. You could easily have managed it by saying, fine, we missed out on top 4. You can spin the narrative to talk about how close we were and then have a good transfer window. And off the back of that transfer window, come out with some messaging to say, given the improvements and how close we are to achieving, Champions League qualification, and with a really, really positive transfer window, we think that all factors considered, Arteta can get us over the line next year and give the contract on that basis. I think the whole thing could have been handled better. And the thing why I find it annoying more than anything is that you're putting unnecessary pressure into these cup final, high-intensity games, during the rest of the season where things are going okay at the moment. We've just won 3 on the bounce. Leeds we expect to win. Why put that extra pressure and change anything? If it's not broke, don't fix it. Do what you need to do internally. Don't invite all that external pressure. And I think, we're talking about how that game became nervy. Perhaps that pressure told a little bit. You can imagine Arteta's desperate not to lose after that contract extension. And now I've got a North London derby. All in all, I think it shows a little bit of inexperience in terms of how the club operate. I think a more seasoned kind of executive team would have basically said, hold on a second, let's just bide our time with this. We're happy to commit to you, Arteta, sign the contract, let's keep it internal. That's how I see it. Now, the people on Twitter, my God, the emotional attachment that people have to Mikel Arteta.
He's talking about you, Tom.
It's all me.
Yeah, but it brings me nicely to Tom. Tom,
all about Tom.
Yeah, I honestly, and with respect, I completely disagree with everything Moh just said.
Fire away. The floor is yours, mate.
I come from it from a completely different angle because and I think someone highlighted in the chat box earlier, my preference was that we waited until the end of the season before we made a decision on Mikel Arteta's contract. That was my preference of what I wanted to see because, I said it on a number of shows, if we finished 5th or 6th, it's a good season because it's progressed us from where we were, but it's no guarantee, it's no assurance to me that we are going definitely in the right direction. Top 4 is a genuine signal to me that we're going into the right direction, is the right place to go forward. So new contract, no issue. The issue for me is 5th or 6th is not yet that. And so I would have wanted to see what we did in the summer and how we started the next season. And then, based on that, I would have offered a new contract. However, because as we've all admitted here, we know that the contract is going to happen. Whether we finished 8th, whether we finished 6th or 4th, it didn't matter. The contract was going to be signed. And so because of that, I think this was, because it was always going to happen, the perfect opportunity to announce the contract. The reason for that is because I actually think it takes the pressure off. I don't think there's talk about a contract now between now and the end of the season. I don't think there's, there's not a question about, whether if we don't finish top 4, do we renew him? Because he's renewed now. So there's no conversation about the contract, whether or not he should sign. It's done. It's finished. It's over. We can move forwards. The players, Arteta said, were asking him whether or not he was signing a new deal. Now they're assured. They haven't got that distraction in the last 4 games. They know that their manager's going to be here next season. From a transfer perspective, transfer talks with players start well ahead of the end of the season. And now any prospective transfer target we has knows who the manager's going to be, 100%. That's assured in their mind. If the club find a player that they, whatever reason they're not happy with Arteta, or the other side of the coin, they're very happy and they really wanted to know and assured that Arteta would be there next season, they now have that. So they could be more assured about the players that they target. The contract was always going to be offered to Mikel Arteta. And I think if the worst case scenario happens, and by the way, the worst case scenario for Arsenal is 5th, which is, as worst case scenarios go, not exactly too bad. And I think at the end of the season, had we failed to get 4th and then that contract be announced, I think that the reaction to it then, having failed to achieve top 4, would have been a lot more detrimental to the start of next season and the discussion around Mikel Arteta than it would be announcing it now and say we miss out on top 4 afterwards. Because I think the conversation would be more around, this was the target that they set at the start of the season. They wanted to get back into Europe. We've guaranteed that, and we had guaranteed that before he was renewed. And I think that now we look forwards to the end of the season without the distraction of a contract chat and, that discussion about, we've drawn the North London derby now, or we've lost the North London derby. Does he deserve that new deal? No, it's done. It's over. And so the players know what's going on, and we can just focus on this one thing, which is trying to get into the top 4.
Okay. I know Lev is preparing a show about Mikel Arteta and his contract and everything, so I don't want to go into it too much. And I'm sure.
Am I?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
We've got a small matter of North London Derby coming up. So just before we go to North London Derby, I just want to. We've got around 400 and something people watching. Thank you very much for giving us your time. Please make sure you hit the like button, you subscribe, and we're running a competition this week to celebrate the fact that we've got 1 million hits on our channel, 1 million views rather on our channel. The competition is once this video is finished, the show is finished, not now on the comments, not now. Please pay attention, not now on the comments. Once the show is done, right? Write for us your lineup and prediction for the North London Derby, and Moh and Tom will pick a winner, and we'll send them, whoever wins the competition, we'll send them an Arsenal shirt as a present or a prize. So think about it. Once the show is done, or if you're watching the show on a replay, write on the comments your lineup and prediction, and we'll see who gets it right. And Moh and Tom will pick a winner, and we'll announce it on next week's show on Monday. And we'll get in touch on Twitter or something, and then we'll arrange a shirt to be sent out to them. I just want to say, Tom, I cannot believe you think this takes pressure off the team.
I can't believe you think it puts pressure on the team.
I'm baffled because.
Well, hold on. You both have a point, Moh. Like in a sense, that I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, I would have, if he loses these next 3 games, for example, would you say, oh, he deserves a contract? Like, would
That's
you
not
want
the conversation, though, Les.
No, but
conversation's around when we announce it, because the contract was always going to happen.
That is part of the conversation, because it's the announcement.
It's not, though,
timing of it. It's 3 games left. There's 3 games left.
If you want to have a conversation about whether or not he should get a contract now, that's different. And I would agree with you. Wait to the end of the season. But this is predicated on the fact that he was always going to get a contract. So we're talking about when you announce that contract, which I think there's no issue with it being announced now, because I think it gives you, if anything, a boost going into the end of the season.
But Tom, my point is that the season's going well, right? And now,
well,
the last 3 games were set up for success on that top 4 front. Now the point is, when the men in the suits at the club do anything, there's a lot of eyes, there's a lot of criticism, because then it's hard for them to ever be flavour of the month, right? Even at Liverpool, they're going for the quadruple. But are fans happy with the owners and the ownership and everything? No. So the point is, anytime they do anything, the decision has to be vindicated. So had we lost against Leeds, I think that it doesn't look like it's vindicated, and it puts on that short-term pressure. Why you would kind of like gamble with how that pressure may or may not be increased or decreased at this stage of the season, I think is a risk that shouldn't be taken.
I think the way you've got to weigh it up is that you have to look at what the reaction would have been announcing it now, and I say we don't get top 4, or the end of the season, we don't get top 4, and then we announce his contract. Because in my mind, I think that's worse. At the end of the season, I think the reaction would be worse.
For me, it's one of 2 options. You either announce it when you get top 4, or you announce it after a good transfer window.
Yeah, but that's not. We always knew the contract was there, that we'd signed, that it was done. So after the transfer window, it would have made no sense, because transfer targets would have not been in the know that we've announced.
They would. Of course, you talk to the agents, you talk to them, you have that conversation, and you say, this is confidential. Arteta will be the manager for the next 4 years.
How many transfer links leak all the time? It would get leaked. It would get found out very quickly.
You can let it leak, but when the club are coming out with official communications, that speaks to the ambition of the club and the culture of the club. When journalists leak things and the club stays silent, it doesn't hold that importance of communication. So that's just how I say it. But I'd be interested in the comments, right? In people in the comments, does it take the pressure off, or does it put the pressure on? It'd be interesting to know people's thoughts.
Yeah, let us know in the chat. And if you 3 don't mind, we can talk about the North London Derby now. So
wait, don't look at me. I've just been watching this.
No, it was actually you who started this off. Yes, I got my eye on you.
These guys spoke for 10 minutes about this subject. I said,
but who started it off? Actually, you guys, I want to know. I want to ask you something. No,
is that how I talk?
Yes, that's when you want to come and say something. Anyway, Lev, North
Well,
London
what's
derby, man.
Yeah.
Tottenham away. Very important. Very important game.
Yeah.
We can qualify for Champions League at
can.
White Hart Lane, just like we won the league. It will be a fantastic feeling for us as a fan base to get that. You know, for us to get one over them in the manner of which. But how you feeling about this game, man?
Well, it's nerve-wracking. It's nervous, but I'm excited at the same time because, like, we haven't been in this situation for a little while. I know it's not title challenging or anything before all these, anal people in the chat start going at me. I know it's only top 4.
It's not the best way to start your argument, Lev. Attack the chat box.
No. Look, I know it's a top 4 race, but at the same time, it's exciting. Let's be honest. The Spurs have been finishing above us. It's stuff that fans could sing about in the future. Obviously, not that we've secured top 4, but again, on their ground. I want to secure it on their ground. I want it done and dusted on their ground. And someone on one of our other shows recently hit the nail on the head. I want us to play with our hearts, not our heads. I want us to play with our heads, not our hearts. I want us to play strategic, play the game, not the occasion. In a sense, that's what somebody said. Hit the nail on the head for me. It's going to be very, very nervy. It's obviously a derby and emotions can run high. I don't want anything stupid. No players getting sent off in the first 5-10 minutes due to overrun emotions. I want us to be really calm about it and I want us to be ruthless. So I'm hoping that we set up in the right way. I personally would like us to set up in a way that makes them have to try and break us down. I don't think it suits the way they play. They struggle when they have to play that way. And then I think we want to play the way Spurs do against other teams and hit them on the counter. They need to win this game. Remember that. They need, in my opinion, they need to win this game. I think I saw somebody else say it wouldn't be the end of the world. I think it was you, Tom. It wouldn't be the end of the world if they drew. I personally think it would be a bad result for them to draw. I really do. I think that we only need to win one of the next 2 games and it's it. It's finished. So personally, I think they need to win. They know they need to win and they're going to come at us. And if we play it right, it could work in our favor. If we play it wrong, it could go the other way. But it's exciting and nervy at the same time and I want it done on Thursday. There you go.
Okay. Mo?
I think the game will finish a draw. And I think it's inherently more complex for Arsenal in terms of the approach to the game because Tottenham, they just know they need to win. And yeah, I mean, I don't envy Mikel Arteta on this one because, boy, what a hard way to approach this game and to really convince the team to try and be natural about the way they play the game. Because if they don't play for the win, then it will be a nightmare. It will be so deep, will invite so much pressure, and Tottenham have got the quality to go and find the moments that they need to make it count. So yeah, I'm really flipping nervous, but I think that Arteta will get it right. This is where he'll earn his money. This is where he'll enhance his reputation. And in recent weeks, he's done well in the big games, and the team has done well in the big games. So, even though the Leeds game wasn't great, I think we'll get a draw. But I'll go back to one thing I mentioned previously I think a couple of weeks ago when we were talking, is that when you look at our recent games against Chelsea, our recent successful games against Chelsea, Christensen, a gift to Eddie. When you look at the United game, Varane and Telles missed a cross in and Saka picked it up. We scored from there. Yesterday, Meslier, a gift to Nketiah. And these are all the opening goals. And I kind of feel like it sort of glosses over a little bit. And I'm sitting there thinking, I don't know whether Arsenal are really winning games themselves, or is it a case of we're kind of getting little gifts and we're not necessarily doing all the hard work ourselves.
Do you know who Spurs' 3rd top goal scorer is, Mo?
It's Tottenham's 3rd top goal.
3rd highest goal scorer.
Son and Kane.
It's Son, isn't it?
On Ndombele?
It's own goal.
Right, okay.
So
really? By who?
We should have signed him.
Would you say, Shahid?
By who?
Would you? Loads. Lots
By who?
Any of them in particular that he's.
I don't know if there's any that are like more than others. But yeah, the 3rd highest goal scorer this season is from own goals. So we aren't the only team that have had fortuitous goals given our way.
But
And looking at the
I'm an
table,
Arsenal
Mo,
fan.
sorry to interrupt. Looking at the table, though, you can't deny we deserve to be there.
Absolutely, yeah. But I just feel like, I'm looking at a very recent games, and when you look at the whole season, you think, no, you have to believe in that league table. It's true. The league table is true when you're 35 games in. But the last few games, I just feel like we've always been given a very good start. And I just wonder, is that skewing the way we view our team right now? But regardless, I think we'll draw, and that's enough for us.
Okay. I actually I agree with Mo as well, and I think one thing that I can give Mikel Arteta credit for is we don't go away to big teams and get battered anymore. And I don't expect a battering against the Spurs, because North London derby form always goes out of the window. It's the North London derby. I know Tottenham have come to the Emirates on a really poor form, and everybody's looking at this as a guaranteed 3 points, but they either won or they got a draw. So we need to be wary of that. It's going to be interesting game tactically, because Tottenham will need to win, and all we have to do is not lose. I almost want to see us do exactly what Tottenham did to Liverpool. I want to see us do that to them, where we'll sit back, keep it tight, and we'll hit them on the counter. We've got enough pace with the likes of Martinelli, Saka, and Nketiah to worry them on the counter. Odegaard, if he can get it together, he can play these through balls to them, and for them rather, and it would help us. Lev is right. It's a lot on this game, and I just hope that does not get to the players. And as I said earlier, I just worry a little bit about our fullbacks. It'll be interesting to see how Arteta approaches this in terms of nullifying Son, because and Harry Kane, they both have got a very, very good habit of scoring against us. So it'll be a very interesting game. I'll come to the predictions after Tom's thoughts on the game.
Yeah, speaking about kind of the fullbacks, I'd go Ben White holding Gabriel and Tomiyasu as the back four. Because if you move, I get the idea of moving Tomiyasu to right back to deal with Son, because he's our best defender. But then you've got the question of who's dealing with Kulusevski, because if it's Cedric or Tavares, I'm worried. And I think that Tomiyasu there, Ben White on the right hand side with Holding. Holding alongside Tomiyasu has probably been. Holding's probably been our second best defender from a defensive point of view, from what he's given to us in his performances this season. He's not done really anything wrong at Holding defensively. It's just what, the others give us playing out that kind of supersede what Holding does from an overall perspective. I think that it's a game that Arteta has had 2 goes at so far at Tottenham and lost both of them. And in both of those games, we played into Spurs' hands. We overcommitted. We left space in behind. We conceded on the counter. So we know exactly what Spurs' strengths are. Arteta knows exactly what Spurs' strengths are. We can play a certain way in which we can try and get maximum points from this. And that's to frustrate Spurs. You look at the games in which Spurs have dropped points in this season. You look at teams like Burnley, like Brighton, teams that have, sat back and absorbed pressure at times, because what Spurs aren't good at is breaking teams down. What they are really good at is counter-attacking. So if you overcommit and you leave the spaces, you will get punished, because they have the best counter-attacking system in the league, and Conte knows how to deploy that in the perfect way. So that's, I think, why White, Holding, Gabriel and Tomiyasu, who, aren't going to overcommit themselves. They're going to be fairly disciplined in their own positioning. And then you've got El Neni and Xhaka, again, 2 players that don't tend to overcommit themselves going forwards. If either of them does, it would be Xhaka. But you've got El Neni being, really, really solid in the last 4 games. So I think those are the 6 that I would play. It's kind of that defensive unit. And Nketiah is great for this game, as he showed against Chelsea, because he just runs for days. He'll pressure, he'll harry, he'll be really irritating. Martinelli, I think, had a brilliant game against Leeds and will need his energy again. Saka, it was right to, take him off. So we got him rested as much as possible for this fixture. And then you got Odegaard just pulling the strings, and feeding through the passes. And then his ball that Mo brought up against West Ham earlier on, that type of pass into Nketiah, if we can get a break, is going to be really useful. I hate this game. I hate the derby. I can't stand it. It's the worst day of my life because it's just the most nerve-wracking experience that an Arsenal fan. Because the idea of Arsenal losing the derby is the worst thing in the world, and I hate it for that reason.
Under these circumstances, even worse.
Absolutely, but the reward for winning it, is unrivaled. It's the next best thing beyond, getting trophies for an Arsenal fan is winning the derby. That's the next best thing for Arsenal.
If we were, God forbid, if we were to lose this game. Then it makes the running.
We have to beat Newcastle and Everton, in my view, and that's going to be very
because we can go. We can afford to go there and lose. If we go there and lose, not a lot will change. We're still going to be fourth. It will just means that we have to beat Newcastle and Everton.
I don't like that. I don't like the idea of going into those last two games having to get 3 points from each.
Of course, but what Shaheen is saying is factual. Like if they lose, we get top 4. If we lose, it's still up for grabs.
We're still in it, yeah.
I mean,
that's a credit to the season.
If we were to lose, how do you guys feel about going away to Newcastle and Everton at home, Mo?
I'm nervous because Newcastle, look, 2 months ago, it looked like that's an all right game.
Man City put 4 past them.
Longer than that. They've been good for about 3 months.
Yeah,
3-4 months
ago. It looked like it was an all right game, and Everton as well.
Yeah.
But Arsenal aren't Man City. Man City are just, brilliant team. Arsenal aren't that yet.
Mo, would this be this element of Newcastle wouldn't have a lot to play for kind of thing?
Well, I don't know because there's huge change.
They're safe. It's not like they're going to qualify for European.
No, but Newcastle, is in the next transfer window. It's going to be Newcastle that everyone's eyes are on. So if you're a player at Newcastle now, you're going to think to yourself, I want to be part of this next year. So I'd be looking to play my way into the manager's plans long term. So that'd be enough motivation for me personally. Yeah. But hopefully
it's the Everton game that worries me a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they've got something to fight for.
They both worry me, but
they just beat Leicester as well.
Tottenham have got Burnley, as one of their games. So they've got a team fighting relegation. I just think, look, this game for me will come down to Son and who he's playing against. And I hope we've got like a big East Asia derby in Japan versus Korea.
Yeah. Who's left back for you then, Mo? Out of interest, who do you play on the left-hand side if you put Tomiyasu there?
Well, I would look. Holding's left-footed. Can he play there, or does he like?
Holding's right-footed, isn't he? I thought Holding was right-footed,
isn't he?
Gabriel was left-footed.
Gabriel's left-footed, but Rob Holding's definitely right-footed.
Yeah. Well, in any case, Rob Holding doesn't have the pace. Yeah, I'm getting confused then. But Gabriel. I mean, the problem with this is about Ben White because he's missed 2 games. He wasn't involved at all, and now all of a sudden, in a matter of a few days, we expect him to come back and be at the level that he needs to be at to play in the North London derby. I'm not sure. But I would switch Tomiyasu and Cedric, even if it was those 2, because I want the best one on Son. Because Son is.
Can I just ask you guys a question? Yes or no, please. It's one of those yes or no questions. Would you be surprised? And I'm going to start with Lev. Would you be shocked actually if you see him play Granit Xhaka at left back?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's your name. Is you either of you called Lev? Yeah. I've been sitting here all my life. What is the point?
Such a good question.
What is
I couldn't help. Couldn't help but answer it.
All right. Well, that's a full
I'd also go to. I'd go to a back 3. I'd play the way we played against Chelsea. I'd go to a back 3.
Do you see, Lev? Do you see Mikel Arteta as a type of manager that would actually adapt to this game and he would say, you know what, let's go there and just defend, sit back, get him on a counter.
Well, didn't he do that against Chelsea? He did that
in the last 2 seasons. He's done that against Chelsea.
He's looked at it, and I watched a really interesting clip of him talking to the women's manager as well, the Arsenal manager. I can't remember his name. Eideveld, that's it. And they were having a chat. They're having a chat in the middle of a pitch about tactics, etc. And how things are this day and age. And whereas before they'd have one tactic and then they drill their team before they go out. Apparently the Premier League is so different now. You don't know until like the team sheet's selected, and it could be 2 or 3 different tactics, 2 or 3 different ways a team can set out. So now what they have to do before a game is have an A plan, a B plan, and a C plan. So when the sheet's out, they go, hold on, we need to rejig this around because they're setting up this way now. So it was really a good insight into it. So I think it's really, really important the way we set up. And I do think he's astute now. He's learning on the job, and he's become a lot more astute. And a lot of harsh experiences that have happened to him must have galvanized him over time and changed the way he does things. And that Tomiyasu move the other day against Leeds, where he put him out on the left, we were all wondering what he was doing there, and then we realised it was to deal with Rafinha, the threat of Rafinha. So I could see him doing that against Spurs to isolate Son against Tomiyasu one-on-one. I really think
the good thing is that Spurs need to win here, and they will come out to play.
Tom made a good point though in terms of who's Tottenham's third top scorer. That's a really tough question to answer. We all know Son and Kane, so they somewhat one-dimensional, not completely, somewhat one-dimensional in the way they play. It's those guys.
Kulusevski is good as well.
Yeah,
Kulusevski has been all right.
He's come in and changed the dynamic. Lucas Moura can do something on a given day, but really it's Son and Kane. Let's take care of them. Respect their talent here, and hopefully we can neutralise them.
Yeah,
Shaheen was asking who OG was, by the way.
I didn't ask who OG was. I said who he was in terms of which one out of them has scored more own goals. I know what OG is there.
Original gangster is what it is, Shaheen.
Yeah. I just before I come to prediction, guys, we just run a competition to celebrate the fact that we've done 1 million views on this channel. So once the show is finished, you can write on the comments for us your predicted lineup and the exact result. And Moh and Tom will pick a winner. We'll announce it on next week's show, and we'll send them an Arsenal shirt.
The new one or this current season?
I don't know. It depends what's available.
Well, the new one comes out in just over a week. 17th, I think it comes out.
Something like that. We're going to play in the Everton game, aren't we?
I'm going to mute Tom for now.
Why?
You tried to cost us here, Tom. No.
Trigger happy, isn't he? He's like
no. We'll see what's available, and we'll get something nice to somebody, to a fellow Arsenal fan. Right, it's that time, guys. Tom, what's your prediction?
Wait,
hold on. You go first. You're top.
No.
It goes down the table. It goes you, me, Mo, Lev.
Who's running this ship, Shaheen?
Mo. And Mo agrees with me.
Tom's right.
No. What is this, man?
You're leading the table.
You guys came out with this 2 weeks ago as well, you know. Why should I go first? Just because I'm winning. You guys want to copy me or something?
All right, why should Tom go first?
So juvenile.
Because it's just why don't you know what? Not what I say, not what you say, right? Lev goes first. Lev, go on, my son.
Why should Lev go first?
Why should I go first?
Now, see, this is what Shaheen is doing. He's trying to do that Super League closed shop sort of mentality.
Why are you guys ganging up on me?
Jeopardy of the sport.
Why are you hating on me because I'm on top? Why?
Yeah, that's the thing.
She said.
We want the underdog.
Can I just address something here? We've got a comment from Craig. Does this channel only respond to
Clearly
chat?
not.
Craig,
Clearly not, exactly.
No, we don't. We just put you on there. But
that's like the OG thing all over again.
So much that's it's very difficult to stop the conversation, go on the chat, stop. Normally at the end of the show, we give time 5-10 minutes for people to ask questions, and we'll put that on there. But this week, because the conversation has been flowing and we're already doing 1 hour and 10 minutes, I don't think we get to do that. So
the answer is no.
Yeah, but no, we respond to all the comments. Predictions. You know what? No problem. I go first because I'm on top. No problem. You know what? It's very, very difficult to predict this game. Very difficult. I'm torn between an Arsenal win or a draw. I'm going to go for 2-1 Arsenal. Who wants to go second?
It would be me because I'm second in the table. So that was my prediction as well. And I'm going to stick to it. So, yeah.
If me and you get this right, it's all over. It's between Mo and Lev. You know that?
Yeah. I just think that I was going to say 2-0, but I just feel like we're going to give a pen away because we always do, for Kane. So, yeah, I'm going to say 2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah, I can see them scoring as well, to be honest with you. But Mo, go on.
Mo could be really tactical here.
I'm going to say 4-4. No, I'm kidding. 1-1. You never know with the North London derby, though. I'm going to say 1-1.
You said 1-1?
Yep.
Okay, so you've gone 1-1. Tom's gone. What was yours, Tom?
2-1 Arsenal.
2-1 as well.
2-1 Arsenal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Shaheen, what you gone for?
I've
1-1.
gone to 2-1 Arsenal.
2-1 Arsenal. Yeah. Oh, brave boys.
You said you're going to go for Tottenham win, no?
Yeah, sure I did. See, I'm torn between doing what what my heart says and trying to fucking catch up with you boys, isn't I? So I've got to do I've got to do something. Ian is saying 2-2. I should go for 2-2. I think it's a bit that much. It's a bit much, no? 2-2. I'm gonna go.
Get goals.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
There's pressure.
2-2.
My man is feeling the pressure.
2-2.
You know?
Desmond. 2-2.
2-2. Desmond, yeah?
Yeah, Desmond.
All right, so 2-2, me and Tom 2-1 Arsenal, and Moh has gone for a 1-1 draw. It's good to see that nobody's gone for a Tottenham win, which shows that we're actually confident about going for Tottenham.
I should have done. No chance.
No, but hopefully we will go there and we'll get a very, very good result, and we'll qualify for Champions League, and that will enable us to have a wonderful summer. I've got a couple of questions. Again, a yes or no, please. I wanted to talk about these, but we're not going to have time. So I'm going to ask you guys just say yes or no. I'll start with Lev. Paul Pogba, free transfer, yes or no?
No.
Moh?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Raheem Sterling from Man City. Lev?
Yes.
Moh?
I mean, like, there's not enough context. I need to know how much we're getting him for.
No, just forget about
it. I like the thought of him playing for Arsenal, yeah.
Yeah. Tom?
Yeah.
Last one. Cristiano Ronaldo on a free transfer.
Yes.
No.
No.
He'll get you goals. What's wrong with you guys?
Yeah, but you know how much salary he's going to be on. Same thing with Pogba.
We weren't talking about salary.
You know what, Moh?
You just said on a free transfer.
No, Moh, you know one thing with Paul Pogba is I can see Paul Pogba is a conflict with Mikel Arteta waiting to happen. Yeah. Apart from that, I would like him at Arsenal as well.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you get a motivated Paul Pogba, you get an incredible player. If you get the Man United version of Paul Pogba that walks around the pitch, pointless being there. But I feel like he, I would hope, has a point to prove. Because he's been a complete failure in his second stint at Man United. Ronaldo has got no point to prove. You know, he's been one of the greatest players in the world. He's lived up to his and exceeded his potential.
And he's still a top scorer.
I feel like there could be a real player in Pogba. And I think Pogba's the sort of person that would take a lot of pride and then, playing really, really well and then proving a point to Man United as well. Because I think Paul Pogba first, he thinks about Paul
He's
Pogba.
not going to City anymore, by the way.
If he comes to Arsenal, then he's doing it knowing Arteta's here. So surely that would mean something as well, you know.
Yeah, and look, Nick Paris.
I just don't see Arsenal paying the wages, to be honest.
No, I don't need that.
Because I think he's gonna demand top money. He's going for free. And this, I think Arsene Wenger predicted it a long time ago that this is how the football is going, and we've seen that players running down contracts, walking away for free because they get an enormous salary. Like, look, a good example is Aaron Ramsey to Juventus. You know, my man is on a ridiculous amount of money. Anyway, guys, it's been a wonderful, wonderful show. It's always great having you guys on a Monday night and discuss these things. Tom, final thoughts?
Yeah, massive thanks as always. Appreciate it. And the chat box as per. Just briefly, there was a comment earlier on in the chat box saying, why do I never do phone-ins? I did one 2 days ago. Specifically,
that was Moh.
It was Moh, was it? Yeah. It was specifically actually targeting people that would have the opportunity to come on and tell me why I'm wrong about Arteta. And it was kind of like that John Travolta meme, you know, where he's looking around the room, like, you know, where are these people? Where is everyone? It was a bit like that. Only one person was, you know, I say bold. To be fair, he's a bit bold to come on and have a chat about that. And in the end, they actually ended up changing their mind and saying that Arteta deserved the contract. So, you know, it's the chance was there and no one took it. It's interesting.
You should have told me, Tom. I would have come. Would have agreed.
Well, so you could have agreed with him for another hour. Great.
No, I don't think we would have agreed on that one. Moh, your final thoughts?
My final thoughts is Arteta does deserve the contract. Come on, let's be honest. It doesn't matter what you said in the past. He's done a really good job. He does deserve the contract. We do not have the fourth best team in the country. None of us thought that we were going to finish fourth at the start of the season. He has exceeded expectations. Next year, the pressure is going to be on big time because it's not going to be acceptable to drop out. So let's give him his credit this year, because next year the job becomes immensely harder. And also, I took an absolute beating in the comments, it seems, between the conversation that Tom and I were having about does it put pressure on and does it take pressure off. Everyone seemed to agree with Tom. So, look, perhaps I have to put my hands up and say maybe I've got it wrong. I don't think I have, but I'm definitely in the
Nice
minority.
change for me, to be fair.
So, well done, Tom.
Lev, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I'm not thinking as far ahead as next season. All I care about is what goes down on Thursday. So I'm just getting my head prepared for Thursday. Are we doing an after-match reaction for Thursday, by the way? We are, aren't we? Yeah, we're doing an after-match reaction for Thursday.
Do you want to tell people what you're doing on Wednesday?
Wednesday, I have Henry Winter TV coming on, the Spurs fan. So it'll be interesting. So tune in Wednesday, 8 p.m. We'll be hearing sort of their views, how they're feeling with the run-in. It's going to be exciting. Let's be honest. It's nice to hear. Well, it's not nice to hear, but it's interesting to hear what these guys are feeling. I mean, some are saying, it was advantage them after securing a point at Liverpool, whatever. Let's get to the crux of it. So see us on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Henry Winter TV, myself. I think Brandon might be on as well. I'm not sure. So yeah, tune in. And also what I would like to do is carry on the theme of random questions that Tom started off. I've got one for you guys as well. So if you don't mind, I'll ask it. If there was
Tom, do you want to go this week or you want to pass it?
No, Lev's got it, and I know Mo's got to go.
So let me get it straight. I was going to do this, and then you was going to pass it on to Tom. Nice one, anyway. All right, very quick question. If there was one thing, an invention you'd like to get rid of tomorrow, what would it be? You start.
Come again? Come
an
again?
invention, something that's been created, Shaheen, an invention. If there was one invention you'd like to get rid of tomorrow, what would it be?
Can I go first?
Go on then.
Social media.
He says while we're on YouTube.
Yeah, man. Weapons.
Great answer.
Yeah, I can't beat that. Weapons. Yeah. I was going to say a potato peeler, which makes me look awful now.
It makes me look bad as well. Mo's good. I was going to say self-service checkouts.
What's wrong with Mo's face?
I don't know. I think he's frozen.
Weapons upset him, and
yeah, you got my answer.
He's back.
Yeah,
yes, we did.
Yeah, weapons.
Yeah. I said self-service checkouts. That sounds terrible after weapons.
And the last super chat, Isa. Thank you very much for.
It's him again. No, he's done it right this time.
Tom, what did you say?
Oh, I agreed with you, because if I'd have said anything else afterwards, it would have made me look awful. I was going to say a potato peeler, because I lost my finger to one. So
Mo says the world-changing weapons.
Right. Honestly,
Tom comes out with potato peeler.
It's so enlightening for me to be in the company of you three. Check out potato peeler and social media hating.
Oh, come on, self-service checkouts are terrible. Anyway.
Yeah, but
on that note,
guys, we've been doing this for about an hour and 20 minutes longer than usual. Thank you very much to everybody who tuned in. Thank you very much to everybody who took part, everybody in the comments. Sorry we couldn't be more attentive. And don't forget our competition. Make sure you comment for us, like the video, subscribe to the Gooner Talk TV, subscribe to Moh and subscribe to Arsenal Lounge. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And don't forget, Wednesday, 8 o'clock, Lev is doing a preview for North London Derby with a Tottenham fan. And we will see you guys after Spurs game. Thank you very much. Take care.
You fucking gunners.